shout out to them. They ain't playing. They going ahead.
I'm tired of that.
It's your boy Bradley Bags. It's the motherfucking Bag Report.
Big deal.
Bag Report, what up, y'all? You know, I'm fucking with y'all happy.
Alright, here we go.
That's the motherfucking Bag Report.
Get your man, you watching the Bag Report, nigga. You already know what time it is.
Zilla, aka the Bag Report in this bitch.
We got Prince McFlei, FG Radio, Sophisticated Ignorance. Shout out to Welcome to My Nuts Podcast. Shout out to the Bag Report. This is FG Radio's 5th anniversary, so like 5 years.
Yes.
Being a co-host is way easier than being like a normal host of that shit. Because when you a co-host, you just got a section that's possibly yours on the podcast and shit like that, or you just feeding off of ideas of the main, like the main host. So like the host will structure the show and all that shit, and you just coming in, pinpointing, putting whatever you gotta put in that bitch. It's straight, way less stress. You know, doing my own podcast, it's kind of like the same, because with FG Radio Podcast, it was me and Cole like 50-50 doing all the shit. So me doing my own shit is pretty much like the same level of responsibility. It's just, you know, me structuring the whole fucking episode. Like that's probably like one of the main reasons it didn't come back when it was supposed to come back a few weeks ago. It was just like you run into creative blocks and shit like that. So to me, a lot of shit I was coming up with wasn't funny. It probably was hilarious, but just to me it wasn't funny. So, you know, as soon as I get a whole episode structured, then it'll be back. No, it's gonna be based off of what's the word I'm looking for? More like facts. If I'm saying the right thing, it's kind of like when you talking about something, you're talking with facts and shit like that. So it's gonna be more real talk and shit like that than comedy. Like comedy, like the shit we say is gonna be funny. So, but it's not off top. We're trying to, you know, want to be comedians on a podcast. No, but you still gotta structure it. That's so you know what you're talking about. Cause freestyling it, you gonna really be in there like you high, and you're gonna keep having to redo shit. Like it's gonna be random mumbling pretty much. So you know, when you structure it, it just makes everything just flow perfect. It's kind of like going in the booth, just freestyling it. It's gonna sound like a freestyle. But when you done wrote your shit down and memorized it, it flows way better. Deezy Samiro, off top. Cause pretty much them niggas, it's just two random niggas who had jobs and shit like that, just saying real nigga shit on a podcast. And that shit done pushed them to the heights of having their own TV show. Niggas got a fucking Nike shoe. Niggas are sponsored by Timberland. So going to a podcast, then going to the next levels was going to having a video podcast with Complex, and then a level above that, after the Complex shit, they podcast was sponsored by like Red Bull and shit like that, if I'm not mistaken, to go into an actual TV show. Then you could see them climbing the ladder to where they at. Charlamagne cool too, but he got his skin bleached, so mans can't trust him. I think it was like FG Radio episode 3. I finally clicked on that bitch and listened to it, and it was I'm like, yo, this shit dope. Cause before that, I never thought of like being a radio host or being a podcast. I didn't even know what a podcast was, so it was kind of just like damn, it's just Kobe on that bitch. Saying some, saying real nigga shit. And then with music and shit like that. So I pretty much, every time I saw Kobe at his job, he had worked at Great Lakes at the time. I'm like, hey man, let me get on the podcast. And every time I seen him, so asked me to be on a Jay-Z birthday episode or whatever. If anybody who know me know I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. So I'm like, fuck it, yeah. So we did the shit. And that shit was like, I guess, I did a good ass job and shit. And Kobe asked me to be on the next episode. And from there, we here right now, 5 years later. Long story or short story. Fuck it, we gonna pretty much I started a new Twitter. And like my original Twitter name was like some long corny shit. Like Marty McFlei 234509 or some shit like that. So I was like, man, telling niggas your Twitter name and shit like that was something like that, that's some bullshit. So I was like, I gotta shorten it. So I got the McFlei part from Marty McFlei, but I was like, it's a bunch of McFleis on this bitch. So it's a clothing line in Pontiac named Fly Young, and how they spelled they fly was FLEI with like an asterisk on the I part. So I'm like, yo, that's dope as fuck. So I created the McFlei part. The Prince one is like my gamer tag, if I'm not mistaken, was like Prince Tone or some shit like that. So I just chopped that shit off and did the Prince _ McFlei. And that was my Twitter name, and then I just transitioned the Twitter name to that's who I am.
When I fuck up darker than I leave up. Shit, white told him I can beat up. Look, all my niggas don't fucking nutty. Don't pour it if it ain't extra money. Rockin' flockin' for the extra money. Never gave me shit or ever took shit from me. I'm a real nigga, get that understood. Never switch or go Hollywood. Still with the shit to pull up to your hood. And having all my niggas show your ass is good. It's a brand new year like the 1st of January. Got hoes falling like it's Valentine's already. All my enemies want me in the cemetery, but shit, they won't do what they sell. So I'ma kick back, I'ma come by my wealth. Underground artists won't get stuck on the shelf. Don't play before I, cause you got the milk. Treat your cards right or you gon' get dealt. I'm smoking on that presidential. I'm spitting diamonds, that golden dental. I'm riding diamonds, treating hoes like rental. Chopping the back with the pedal to the metal. I'm trying to get rich. Using my pen and my pad as my lick. Treating the streets and the game as my bitch. I'm fucking the world, don't ask me for shit like
Stop posing him.
changing the game.